Um, Carrie. Carrie's here. Good. Lovely to see all these names that I actually know. This morning we're going to do a flow for the stomach and spleen meridian lines. Yin yoga, remember, is giving you a lovely work to your connective tissues, but and working the low back and the hips, but it also does acupressure on yourself as well. There's another wave that is, Gina. Good morning. What was I saying? So yes, so acupressure. So this morning we're doing stomach and spleen meridian lines, and the stomach line runs down the center of your legs. The spleen meridian line runs along the inner lines of your legs up there. So anytime you're pulling along those lines into the groin, into the front of your hips, so if we do any kind of back bending like that, then we'll get some of the trigger points on those lines. So we'll start as we always do with quiet centering meditation. So come to a comfortable cross-legged seat, one foot in front of the other if you like. You can lie back if you prefer, feet on your mat, about hip width apart, and have the inner knees resting together. It's easy on the low back. Feel free to straighten out your legs if you want, but keep them bent as they are for the whole time if you like. Hands can be in your lap, on your thighs, palms up or down, doesn't matter. If you're lying back, you can have them on your belly, by your sides, palms up or down. Or something that I personally really like is one hand on the belly and one hand on your heart. Shrug your shoulders up to your ears, and then let them slide down your back away from your ears. Tuck your chin in slightly, and that'll lengthen the back of the neck. Letting your eyes fall softly shut if you haven't already done so. Settling in to your room, onto your mat. Just let go of your morning thus far. Let go of whatever's in store for today. Things to do. Those of you who are working, just setting all those busy thoughts aside, anxieties. Just let them go for this next hour, so that this next hour is just for you, body, but also mind and spirit. Do a body scan next. Take note if there are any areas that are maybe in need of that extra little bit of care or attention. And it's not that you'll dwell on whatever does arise, on whatever level, physical or mental, spiritual or emotional. But you acknowledge it. Create a little space. And when you check in at the end of the class with how you're feeling, you may notice that things have subtly shifted in perspective or sensation. And then begin to notice your breath. Don't change anything, just notice it. Whereabouts in your chest cavity are you breathing? How fast are you breathing? Are you breathing through your nose or your mouth, or a bit of both? So begin to breathe in and back out again through your nose. Pull that air in past the rings of your nostrils. Trace its path as it flows up your nose, down your throat into your lungs, and then back out that same pathway. Feel the swirl past the rings of the nostrils as the breath exits the body. Notice the difference in temperature there at the rings of the nostrils, how the air is cooler when it first swirls in and warmer when it swirls back out. Notice how your breath is slowing down. It's deepening. We're getting to the bottom of the lungs where the air tends to stagnate. So start to even out these inhales and exhales next. Put a count to 2 or 3 as you pull the air in, and then that same steady count as you send it back out again. Don't force your breath to match the numbers. Match the numbers to your breath, allowing it to deepen as it wants to. And remember, if the numbers don't work, you can use that little mantra. I am breathing in. I am breathing out. Or simply just breathing in, breathing out. On another inhale, pay attention to your rib cage, still using your mantra or the counting. Notice the expansion in all four directions, the fronts, the backs. If you're lying back, you'll feel them press into your mat, the sides of your ribs. Watch that rib cage contract as you exhale. Go deeper now. Look at your lungs on an inhale. Virtual sponges. They fill up the majority of your chest cavity. Notice how they expand in those same four directions. See them as well as feel them. Fronts, backs, inner and outer sides, thickening, taking in air, nourishing every cell in your body. Watch those lungs contract as you exhale. Send your lungs some gratitude for being healthy, for all this work that they do for you all day, all night. This is your yogic breath. It's the main one that we use in Yin, and it helps anchor our mind inside our body, gives our mind something to focus on. But the breath will also let you know if you're working too hard, if it becomes ragged, pushing, which we should never do in Yin, then you know you need to back off, modify. And if you have disappeared out of the room, then that's another way of bringing your mind back inside your body, is by focusing on your breath, the most important part of any style of yoga. Now, if you are on your back, make your way to one side. Pause there for a moment. Everyone can blink their eyes open and closed a few times. And then once you're ready from on your back, things have settled down, turn over onto your all fours. Push up, and if you're seated, then you'll want to come over onto all fours, maybe straighten out the legs and give them a little bounce and a rock from the top of the hips. But we're going to start off on all fours. We start off with wide knee pose of the child, which for some people with knee issues, it might not work. So there's lots of things you can do. Put a little quilt behind your knees. Keep your toes together and move your knees out to the side of your mat. Double up your mat if it's the knees. Put your knees on to some padding if you like. You don't have to, but it's recommended. Sit on your heels. That way your thighs can relax. But if you can't get down onto your heels, maybe it's the ankles that have issues, then put a block there. If you don't have a block at home, remember you've got books, you can stack them. Turn the block to one side so that keeps the knee joint open a little bit more. Okay, so find that part. And then we're going to walk our hands forward until you come to just a spot where you can maybe cross your forearms, rest your forehead on your hands just for a couple of breaths here. See if you can, now that you've got your legs relaxed, straighten out both of your arms and put your forehead on the mat. If that doesn't work, then get a cushion, or if you're not using the block to sit on, put it under your forehead. Leave your left arm outstretched and feed your right arm underneath it. So we're adding a twist, okay? So your left arm is on your mat, feed your right arm under it. You'll come to rest on the side of your head. If that makes your butt pop up, then bend in this forearm or bring in a cushion so that you can rest your head on something so that you can relax totally. When your butt's up in the air like this, you're not getting the pull through your quads. So you want to try to relax back on something. Breathing in, find your breath. Breathing out. Now, take your left arm, if you like, and wrap it behind your waist like that. If you can, hook the inner thigh. If you find it there, and then you can just relax the arm. If it just comes a certain way, then just leave it on your back, relaxing. If that puts too much torque or pressure into your shoulder, then just leave your arm on your mat. Not a problem. Maybe you can wiggle your right shoulder a little closer over to the inner knee. And then relax your legs again. Steady breathing. In through your nose, back out through your nose. In Yin, we have just 3 principles. And the first one is finding this edge, this place where you're a little uncomfortable. There's some tugging in various places, not too happy, but never any pain. If there's any kind of pain, then you back off. That's why we use lots of props, we modify, we support, so that we don't have pain, because we hold these poses for minutes, not just for breaths. The second principle, and there's only the 3, and they're also known as tattvas. The second one is stillness. Once we find that place of comfortable discomfort, then we find stillness. We try not to back away from the sensations. Rather, we try to relax in the face of them. And we can take that lesson off our mat when we're in difficult life situations. Come back to this tattva of stillness, relaxing calmness. And then as we soften and are still and relax our muscles, then the other component to this stillness, tattva, is the inner stillness. Take time to notice if maybe your jaw is tight. Maybe it's your shoulders, relax them. Maybe you notice that there's a different sensation on the right leg. Maybe it's more of a pull in the groin on the inner line of that leg than it is on the left leg. Or maybe something suddenly seems to release and relax. And you can go a little deeper and find a new edge. Maybe it's emotions that pop up that you notice, or thoughts. Remember, they always say you can change your thoughts, but first you need to pay attention to them. So this time in the poses allows us that stillness and time to notice. The third principle is this time, holding these poses for minutes. And now on your next inhale, unwrap your back arm, set it down, bring your bottom arm out, set it down. If you want to release your knees before you do the other side, then feel free to do that. If you're okay, leave your right hand extended, and we feed our left hand under, coming to rest on the side of your head, just like you did before. Leave that right arm down on your mat for the first 30 seconds or so of the pose, just to find the shape on this other side. Notice the subtle changes. Maybe the pull that you were feeling in one area has dissipated. Maybe it's shifted. Now at this point, take your outstretched hand and wrap it behind your waist. That would be your right arm, if you did that on the other side. If it bothers your shoulder, remember, then don't do it. And maybe this shoulder is the one that's not so good, so maybe it does bother you on this side, so leave it on the mat, relaxing. Or maybe you're using it to rest your head on. That's okay too. Maybe at this point you can wiggle your left shoulder a little closer to the inner right kneecap. And then relax your legs, relax your body. Yin is a very quiet, still, meditative practice. All yoga is a form of meditation. In its true sense, it's the West that's kind of messed it up a little bit with too much emphasis on the physical. But the physical part of yoga stills the body And then we can still our mind. You can't turn off your thoughts, but you can learn to direct them. So listen to your breath. In through the nose. Back out through the nose. Notice if the shoulders are a little not relaxed. Maybe they're a little tight. See if you can breathe into them. Exhale, let go. The breath is such a huge part and value in yoga. It anchors your mind, gives your mind something to focus on, but it also can help to relax you. This twisting that we're doing right now is lovely through your rib cage. Exhale, completely pull those bottom ribs in all the way. And then you'll find you have room to have a little bit deeper of an inhale. If at any time any of these poses don't feel right at a certain point, then go to pose of the child. And we're in wide-legged pose of the child, so you can bring your knees back together and sink back. That's always a go-to pose. And of course, this one is one that you can sort of simulate on your back so that you don't have so much pressure on your knees. But most people can do it with modifications, sitting on something. On your next inhale, unwrap your back arm, set it down, exhale. Inhale, bring your arm out now, set them both down, come forward. Should feel fabulous to release those hips. Lift the knees, don't drag them, one at a time so they're back under your hips. Be still again. So important when we come out of these long holds that we're still and pay attention to how we're feeling and notice that rush of warmth and coolness. Do some cat-cows next here, so you're arching your back, drop your head, look for your belly button, and tuck your tailbone. Go the opposite way, spread the sit bones, drop the belly, look up, push into your hands. Go through 2 or 3 more, matching one breath to one movement. It's a lovely way to release the back, but also the hips a little bit as well. And when you're done, end with a flat back. This next one, you want to make sure that you do have some padding under your knees. Danielle, you're going to be so happy you're here this morning. Your favorite pose. These are dragon poses. So where your left hand is, put your left foot there. So help it forward if you need to. First thing to do is make sure that your joints are stacked so you're nice and stable. So you have your ankle under your knee. Make sure you're not over or you're not too far back like that. So line them up so you've got this nice perpendicular to your mat shape. Get your kneecap into your armpit. I kind of do that because that gives me a little bit extra length on that side. Use blocks, 1 or 2 under your hands, not a problem. Because it's not about our arms at all. I always say that. This is totally about legs and hips, a little bit of the back. Now once you've got that leg straight there, tuck your right toes under and move that right leg back. You might have to adjust your blanket, is what's going to happen to me with my quilt. And then stack those joints again. Once you've got your leg back a little bit, that you feel this kind of, oh my God, it feels like I'm doing splits, then that's perfect. Set the top of your foot down. Look back, make sure that leg is nice and straight. Now here, you're going to look on the floor in front of you about 1 meter, 3 feet. Close your eyes. This is so that we keep our head in line with our spine. We don't want to let our head drop like this. You can be on flat hands. You can be on fists. You can be on fingertips for a little bit of it as well. That's a good way to strengthen your finger joints. Close your eyes. Now relax your legs. They're probably engaged quite a bit. So relax your quads just gently, just a little bit. And you'll notice that pull through the groin and the front of your extended right leg The compression in your hip on the left leg, left side, increases. So easy does it with letting go. Just easy does it. And you can keep your legs engaged to some degree to help take that pressure off. Now you're going to inhale and we'll come to high flying dragon. So this is where you come up, rest your forearm, both of your arms lightly. Don't push onto that thigh. Relax your shoulders. If you like, let one hand dangle if that feels better, or if it feels better just to have them both resting lightly there. We tend to lean forward here, so move your torso back a little bit like that, and notice that that gives you more of a back bend. Notice how it increases the pull in the front of your right hip joint and down through the center of that quad. Breathe in. Breathe out. Relax your shoulders. Relax your jaw. You can use the ocean breath here. That's that HA sound in the back of your throat. Ujjayi breath. Inhale now. Bring both of your hands to the inside of your leg, of your foot, and we go to low flying dragon here. You can stay here if you want. Bend your elbows a little bit, lowering your torso. If the block is handy, bring it in here, rest your forearms on it. That feels nice and it lowers your torso more and you can relax your arms. Maybe some of you go down onto your mat. Here you can stack your fists if you like and rest your head, or just keep your head in line with your spine again. Relax your legs. Again, we're increasing the tug substantially in the front of that right extended leg, in that right hip. And we've also increased the compression substantially in our left hip. Use that Ujjayi breath. The sound of it helps calm your mind as well. Exhale. On your next inhale, come back up. Tuck your back toes under. Push your hips up and back. Bring your left hand on the outside of that left leg so you're nice and stable. Rock up onto your heel if you like. This is half splits. It should feel lovely to release that intense pose. Works deeply into your hip sockets, but it also can really help with sciatica, that one. And then bring your leg back down. Set your knees down. We'll tuck both of our toes and push up into downward facing dog here. Forwards, one here. Stay still for a few breaths. Notice the difference in each hip, and then when you're ready, walk the dog. Lift one heel at a time, push into the opposite one, bending your toes. Come high onto all 10 toes. Give them a really good bend. Toes, feet are the first place we start to age and tighten up. So anytime you can bend them and stretch, send the heels down. Stretch through the hamstrings. And then set your knees down. Good. Now we'll do the other side. So right hand, where your right hand is, put your right leg there. Help it forward if you need to. Stack your joints. So ankle under the knee. Get that kneecap kind of into your armpit to give your right arm a little more length. If still there's trouble to reach the mat, you're struggling, you don't want to struggle. So set your hand on a block or both hands. Tuck your left toes under, move that left leg back just till you feel that, oh my God, kind of feels like the splits tugging, and then that's perfect. Remember, don't drop your head. Look in front of you about a meter. Close your eyes. Go to your legs. Relax them as much as you can. Remember, your breath is your guide. If it starts to make you breathe shallowly or fast, then back off. Use your leg muscles a little bit to help take some of the pressure off the hips. If the finger joints, if you're on your fingertips and they start to bother you, then switch to fists or flat hands, and then relax your legs again because they will have engaged to help support you. Now inhale, we come to high flying dragon. This is the one where we just lightly rest our arms on our calf, on our thigh. Find a spot to gaze at to help keep your balance. Remember, move your torso back a little bit, just to increase the pull in the front of the left hip now. Increases the back bend a little bit. Try to relax this leg. I know it's engaged because it's got to support you, but try to relax that quad as much as you can. Relax your shoulders. Relax your jaw. Breathe in. Breathe out. If it's too much on your knee, then go back to the first, which is called baby dragon that we did. If your quad starts to cramp up, same thing. Come back to the baby dragon so that you can relax this quad and let things settle down. Now inhale. Bring both of your hands to the inside of that foot. This is low flying dragon, so stay here or bring the block in. Rest your forearms on it or see if you can rest them right on your mat. Be careful that this right leg doesn't flare out to the side. Keep your foot planted. Ride that ocean breath in and out. The hips are our largest joint in our body, so we have lots of issues buried in the tissues there and tightness because we don't live on the floor in the West. Now inhale. So those were pretty deeply, pretty intense. Tuck your back toes under, push your hips up and back. I love what Bernie Clark says about this one. You say an oh my God, and then rock up onto your heel to give yourself a nice hamstring tug. This is half splits. It's lovely. Bring your leg back in, heel toe it, lift it, help it back down. Stay on all fours for a breath or two, noticing the different sensations in each hip. And then when you are ready, things have settled down a little bit, tuck your toes under, push up into down dog. Stay still for a few breaths and then walking the dog again. Putting a little bit of motion into those hip joints is always good after those long, intense tugs. Go all up onto all 10 toes. Give them a good bend. Send your heels down for a lovely full stretch there. Then drop your knees down and sink back to child's pose just for a little regrouping. If you want, stack your fists and do child's pose this way or your hands. And then slowly come up onto all fours. This next pose is called saddle pose, and for people with knee issues, it's a little tricky, but there's lots of modifications. So I'll show you modifications for full saddle. Without modifications, actually, first of all, is you just sit back between your heels. Okay, so start there. If you're okay, just stay there and wait for a moment while I give all the things that you can do for everybody. If you're not going to be able to sit between your feet, sit on a block, because right away that elevates your hips and your pelvis, and then it's easier on your ankles and on your knees. So that's one way. If that still doesn't work, then you are going to do one leg at a time. So sit on your bum and leave your left leg extended and pull in your right leg. Okay, and if that doesn't work, maybe the knee doesn't bend or maybe the knee's up, then bring your block, support it under your knee like that. If there's issues, I know some people I have and students have knee issues and the knee's not bending all the way yet, then get it to where you can so that you're getting this inner rotation of your hip. Put the block maybe on a higher side like that, and then you can just work on this inner rotation of your hip, which is what we're looking for here. No knee pain at all. So support, 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 however you can. So one leg is bent or both legs bent. So then from here, we start to lean back. That just increases the pull through the quads. So if you've got plenty going on, you've got hip issues, knee issues, it's the ankles for a lot of people, then stay seated. And as long as there's steady discomfort at a manageable level, then you're okay there. Don't lean back. But if you're okay, then start to lean back because that increases the pull on your quads. Don't let your knees lift, okay? If the knees start to pop up as you lean back like that, then come back to where they can relax back down on your mat. So it's not safe to have your knees popping up off your mat. From reading, they don't have to be close together either. You can let them go apart. If you find that it makes it easier to have them apart, then ask yourself, well, you want a little discomfort, so maybe start to bring your knees back in a little bit, and that might change the pull slightly if you find that saddle is comfortable. If you're not using a block to sit on and you're going to get eventually all the way down, maybe go to an elbow, rest there, have that block under your shoulders so that it can help keep this arch in your low back, because that's important too, and that also feels lovely to rest back on that block or a cushion under your shoulder blades. It just is. It's some massage therapists will near the end run their hands under your spine all the way up and give you this arch feeling that this kind of simulates, for me anyhow. Arms relaxed by your sides. Maybe you like them out in a T to increase that pull across the chest. Maybe some of you like them over your head, clasp a wrist, and then you get a nice pull down the backs of the arms and into the armpit area. If you come out, if you've had enough, then if you're all the way down, you're going to stay here for the 3 minutes. We'll switch legs at the halfway mark. So if you've got both legs bent, you're not going to move when I give the time. So we're here for 5 minutes, so about 2.5 minutes each side. Steady breathing, another one where you can use your Ujjayi breath. Try to relax your legs as much as you can. This is getting the stomach meridian line in a wonderful way because of that pull right down the center of your quad, pressure in the kneecap. Also getting the spleen along the inner legs. You can find the inner line of your legs, inner knee into the groin. Now if you're doing one leg, if you are back, pull your core, your tummy in, tighten your core, use your core, push into your elbows, your hands, come up. Switch legs. So we had our right leg bent, so this time you'll straighten out your right leg. Those of you doing both legs, you just stay where you are and then ease back in. So with both legs, you're going to be there about 6 minutes because of the changing in the center, or in the side. In the middle, to change to the other side. Steady breathing. And if you get back to your elbows and you don't get back all the way, you can keep your head forward, or you can rest it on that trapezius muscle, but just make sure you leave it back there. Never bring your head or drag it back up when it's back like this. That's just way too hard on your neck. So when it's time to come out, you just leave your head back and do what I said, pushing into the hands and the elbows using your core, and then your head is safely upright. But we've still got not quite 2 more minutes yet. This one you should be able to find your big toe. That's the ending point of the stomach meridian. The stomach meridian line actually starts on the side of your nose, which makes sense with the nose being involved in the whole digestion and intake of food process, right? So the main disruption to healthy stomach chi, healthy stomach energy, is what we put into our bodies. And the stomach is a sorter. It actually sorts the food. Good nutrients, good food. There's more pure gets sent to the spleen for breaking down further so that pure essences can be extracted. Things that are ingested that are impure, they get sent to the small intestine where they're further broken down. And so when you think about stomach, capital S, in the way the Taoists do, that you have stomach component to everything in your body. Your brain has stomach chi, stomach energy, sorting, right? That's something I always say that kind of starts to make it click a little bit more for us Westerners as to the whole body approach that Eastern medicine uses. The spleen meridian actually begins at your big toe, so the big toe is important in here. You can probably find it. Now that's time to come out, so again, use your core, tighten in, pull your bottom rib down, leave your head back, push into your elbows, your hands, help yourself back up, all the way up. If you've got one leg bent, then bring it in, so that, and if you're both legs bent, it's easy just to come forward onto all fours. Stay still. A lot of compression in that pose. So enjoy the release. And then whatever you feel you need, some cat-cows here can be nice, or sometimes it's nice to imagine there's a big circle on your mat and you're going to trace it with your hips. Push your hips all the way around in lovely big circular motions. Go a couple of times one way and then a couple of times the other way. Or doing 3 or 4 cat-cows, one breath to one movement. And then when you're ready, swing your legs to one side or cross at the ankles and roll over them, coming to a seated position. Excuse me. So you might want to sit sideways on your mat because we're going to open our legs and come into Dragonfly Pose. Dragons, not dragonfly, but dragons that we did are great to help with sciatica. This one can bother sciatica, so make sure you have a little quilt or a little towel rolled up, roll the end of your yoga mat over, and just sit your sit bones just on the edge of it, so you've got that slight lift and tilt forward of your pelvis. That can help, and that can also take some of the pressure off hamstrings. Don't have to have your legs flat like this. You can pull them in a little bit, you can pull them in a lot and have the feet resting like that, and then it becomes more about the hips. And maybe as we progress, you can let the feet come out apart a little bit. So inhale, we're going to go over to the left side first. And we start off with a twist, good for the ribs. So take your right hand on the outside of that leg. Take your left hand behind you to straighten your spine. Think about your chin here. Bring it over your left shoulder. Now don't pull yourself around. Find that twist right to your edge and then relax your arms, relax your legs. You might untwist a little bit, but then you'll notice the subtle difference that the twist doesn't become about muscle work, it becomes about those connective tissues, the ligaments in your spine, the fascia in your ribs, behind your ribs. Think of a package of meat, the ribs that have that white opaque sheet on the back of them. The connections between all the ribs. We have all of that in our bodies and we're tugging on it right now. If you want, just like we did in the first pose, wrap that arm behind you and relax it. Breathing in. Breathing out. Bringing your chin over your shoulder helps to bring the twist into your neck vertebrae. Twisting is wonderful for our spine, but also with this stomach and spleen meridian. We are squishing through those inner organs, which is always good because that's constricting the blood flow a little bit. And then when we unwind, fresh, rich in oxygen, because of your yogic breath, blood flows into those restricted areas. Inhale your way now back to the center. Exhale. Over to the right. Inhale. Take your left arm just on the outside of your thigh. Wrap your right arm behind your waist if you like, or start off with it straight behind you so your spine is nice and straight. Make sure you're not leaning back. Bring your chin over your right shoulder this time. And then relax your arms. Relax your legs. Relax your shoulders. Ride your breath in and out. Wiggle your jaw. Make sure you're not gritting your teeth. One of Bernie's newsletters, which is on yinyoga.com, he was talking about energetic stimulation. And he says another benefit is the energetic stimulation available in yin yoga. I was mentioning about the acupressure and the fascia work. But he's talking now about energetic stimulation. Whenever an edge is felt, whenever a posture gives us a challenge physically, tissues are being stretched or compressed. This tension creates mechanical, electrical, and chemical signals that travel through the body, and it can change the quality of the tissues that transmits these signals. In the East, this is called prana, or chi, which flows through nadis and meridians. The Taoists call the mechanical stimulation acupressure. It is important to clarify one point here, that we are not stating that our intention in yin yoga is to stretch our ligaments or joint capsules. We are trying to stress them, which is quite different. Inhale your way back to the center now, and exhale. And then we'll go right down the center. So inhale, and then on your exhale, leaning forward. Remember, you can use blocks here. Feet are floppy. If you feel that you want to move your legs a little bit further apart because you've lost some of the inner line pull and into the groin, then do that. Lean onto a block with your forearms. Maybe it's your elbows, and rest your head. Maybe you turn the block to a higher end so you can rest your head on the block, and then put your arms out to the sides a little bit so you can have a nice release through the shoulders. Remember, if you do get right flat down, make sure you're not pulling yourself to get there, that it's just easing forward. Put your head on one side. You might want to take glasses off, and then at about the halfway mark, I can tell you so that you can turn your head to the other side. So back to stressing our ligaments and joint capsules. If a ligament is stretched beyond its elastic limit, and remember I've mentioned several times that the limits of fascia is a range of 4 to 10%. Depends on the ligament, depends on the person. If you stretch it, he says, beyond its elastic limit, it may plastically deform and stay stretched. That is not our intent. Our intention is to apply a healthy stress to the connective tissues so that the cells that create these tissues and live embedded within them are stimulated. Over time, these cells, which I love the names of them, fibroblasts, they will secrete more collagen, which makes the connective tissues thicker, stronger, and perhaps a little longer, thus increasing the range of motion. Collagen is kind of like plasticky in nature, very strong. Muscles have a lot of elastin in them, and that makes them bendy. And they do like to be worked in reps and everything to stimulate those cells to increase, and then you get larger muscles. But with connective tissues, this steady tug is the way that we target them, with the muscles soft. And then if we can increase cell production, we get that little bit more length. And that gives us a little more feeling of being a little more limber, at ease. And then that transfers to our internal atmosphere, doesn't it, of being more at ease, rather than feeling tight. On your next inhale, come back up slowly. Exhale when you get all the way up. Help your legs in, both of them. Lean back on your hands to release your back. Take your time, take several breaths there when things have settled down through your legs, and enjoy that lovely feeling. Then do some windshield wipers through these legs and hips. Should feel wonderful. Give them a nice straightening out, a little bounce and a rock from the top of the hips. And then you're going to come down onto your backs. You have a nice twists here. So holding them for a little bit longer than normal, which is quite nice. So lying down, your arms can come out to a T. We're going to leave our right leg straight and bend in your left leg. Scoot your right hip under a little bit so that you can bring that left leg across your body, so you're twisting over to the right. Reach down with your right hand maybe and rest it on the side of the knee if you like. Try not to let this right shoulder lift up off your mat. If your left knee is quite high up off the mat, I'll show you this way, then you can put a block under it to rest on, turn it to one side, whatever you need, so that that leg can relax. And if it feels better to have your arms out to the sides in a T without reaching down, then do that. Sometimes it's nice, it gives a nice extra little pull through the side of the hip, maybe a little bit into the lower back area as well. Turn your head if you haven't already done so and look to the outstretched left hand. Think about your left ear, that it could come onto your mat. That brings the twist into your neck. If it bothers your neck to do that, then don't do it. Relax into this twist, steady breathing. A little bit of a squish happening through the groin here. Again, that's where the spleen energy line, the spleen meridian, runs into the torso, is at the groin. As always, twists are at the end of a yin yoga flow, helping to release any tension that might have built up in your spine. But they also restore the equilibrium in your nervous system as well. This gentle squeeze you're giving all along your spine, helping to just squeeze all those nerve endings along your spine and reset. Give you that all is well sensation. Now on your next, just a minute. Not quite there. Now on your next inhale, bring yourself back to the center. Plant your foot soles on your mat, push into them, lift your hips into the air to realign your spine. Set your hips back down. Straighten out your left leg, leave your right leg bent now. Scoot that left hip under a little bit. Let that right leg go across your body. If you reached down on the one side, then reach on this side. Rest your hand on the pit of the knee. Try to keep both shoulders in contact with your mat. If you turned your head, then turn it here. Look out to the right hand. Think of your right ear coming onto your mat. Relax your belly. Relax your shoulders. Breathe in. Slow down. Breathe out. Let go. Send your spine some gratitude here for being healthy, for all of the activities it allows us to do all day and night, changing position in bed. We can run, we can walk, we can go up and down stairs, we can drive, not very far these days, but reaching, bending, it's amazing. Seems interesting for me anyhow, with spinal twists, if we have time to hold them longer, it seems the longer you hold them, the longer you want to be in a twist, because they feel so good. Now on your next inhale, bring that knee back to the center. Plant your foot soles once more, push into them, lift your hips off your mat, realigning your spine, set your hips down. Bring your knees into your chest, wrap your arms around your shins, give yourself a hug, rock over your spine, massaging. Take as long as you want, and then when you're ready, set your foot soles down, stretch those legs out one at a time, maybe grab a little quilt or a hoodie if you're going to cover up for final Shavasana. Leave a little space between your legs so that they're not right tight together. A little space between your sides and your arms. Take in a deep breath and let it go with a sigh. Do that one more time. Deep breath in. Let go. Tuck your chin in slightly to lengthen the back of the neck. Fill your body now with a warm, healing light of relaxation. From your toes, let it flow into your legs, up into your hips, pelvis, torso, up to your shoulders is this glowing, warm, healing light of relaxation. Feel it flow down each arm. Maybe a ball of this light resting in your palm. From your shoulders, this light flows into your neck, your head. Relax all the muscles in your face, around your eyes, tiny muscles around your nose, your ears, your jaw. Relax your scalp. You're filled now with this glowing, healing light of relaxation. Float away to a happy place or stay within. Let your breath be whatever it wants to be now, and let your body absorb the benefits of this practice in Shavasana. We have time, so I'll stay with you for maybe 2 minutes more of quiet. Slowly come back to the room. Hear the sounds around you. Feel the air on your skin. Just gently wake yourself up. Wiggling fingers and toes, maybe making circles with those wrists and ankles. Turn your head from side to side. And then sweep your arms over your head for a full body stretch. And then those arms come down, the legs glide in, turn over to your left side. In Yin, we turn to the left because that opens our right Yang nostril. Take time here on your left side to notice how you're feeling. Notice the quality of your mind. Maybe there has been a shift from the beginning of class, from when we checked in. Know that this is your true nature right here, right now, and you can come back to this feeling anytime. Push into your mat with your right hand and help yourself back up to a cross-legged seat. Hands come together in prayer at your heart, eyes closed. Thank you so much for spending this time with me here practicing Yin Yoga here on Instagram. The light within me honors the light within each one of you. Bow forward, sealing your practice now. Namaste. Have a wonderful Thursday, and I will see you again next week, Tuesday and Thursday. Thank you. Bye. Oh, Sandra joined. I'm so glad you were able to figure it out.